Assalamu alaikum, and welcome back once again to Today in African History with Baba Shaka. I'm Baba Shaka, and I would like to take this time to wish all my Muslim brothers and sisters around the world Ramadan Mubarak. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your fast, reward your good deeds, and forgive all of your misdeeds, inshallah. Today is April 16, 2021. And it was on this date, April 16th, back in the year 1862, that the U.S. Congress abolished slavery in the District of Columbia in Washington, D.C., and granted reparations to the slave owners. Yes, the slave owners. On April 11, 1862, radical Republicans, under the direction of Thaddeus Stevens of Pennsylvania, rammed a measure through the House that abolished the practice of slavery in the District of Columbia. Introduced in December 1861, the legislation fulfilled the wishes of radical Republicans who were the driving force in Congress during the 1860s by providing immediate freedom to the enslaved persons of the federally controlled district. Those born within the Republic, whether black or white, are citizens by birth, natural-born citizens. Representative John R. Moore Bingham of Ohio declared, quote, "There's no such word as white in your Constitution," unquote. The bill came nearly a year to the day after the opening shots of the Civil War at Fort Sumter in Charleston, South Carolina. Bingham reminded his colleagues of that anniversary when, quote, "slavery opened its batteries of treason," unquote, by attacking Union forces at the fort. Quote, "Let the anniversary of that crime be signalized by the banishment of slavery forever from the national capital," unquote, he implored colleagues. Now, to ease the sting for the slave masters, the measure provided compensation to owners loyal to the Union. Whether they were Southern or Northern, well, as long as they were loyal to the Union, they got compensation. However, during floor debates, Albert Gallatin Riddle of Ohio condemned slavery as, quote unquote, a heinous anachronism, describing its abolition in the District of Columbia as a precursor to national emancipation. Now, without Southern representatives present to block the bill, it sailed to passage. Nearly every Republican and a group of Unionists and Northern Democrats, yes, this was a time when they had more than two parties, they all voted for the measure, which passed the House by a count of 92 to 38 and was enacted into law on this date, April 16, in 1862. The act preceded the Emancipation Proclamation signed by President Abraham Lincoln on New Year's Day, 1863, freeing the enslaved in captured Confederate territories. Remember that, only freeing the enslaved in captured Confederate territories. And the 13th Amendment, which was ratified in 1865, which abolished slavery everywhere in the United States, except for prisons. Now, let's get back to the issue of reparations. The Union slave owners, or the slave owners who were loyal to the Union, were given compensation for the loss of their quote-unquote property. But more than a century later, the issue of reparations for the enslaved and their descendants is still being debated. There are even some descendants of the former enslaved who have been convinced by the descendants of their former slave owners that reparations is either unnecessary or that it's a bad idea. This is not just the concern of the United States. No, it's an issue that should and must be addressed by former European colonials as well. For example, in the former British West Indies, slavery was abolished in 1838. Look at that date, in 1838. And not only did the British plantation owners receive reparations for the quote-unquote loss of their slaves, but their descendants were receiving payments up to 2015. Yes, you heard me. 2015. Now go and look it up. Right? Now, some white folks would say something like, "Hey, why should I have to pay for reparations? I didn't own a slave." Yeah, maybe you didn't, but you have certainly benefited either directly or indirectly from the profits of slavery and other discriminatory practices of the U.S. government and the American economic system. Now, the descendants of those slave owners who received compensation for their morally reprehensible activities when this bill was passed in 1862 have certainly benefited directly from the abhorrent institution. It was on this date, April 16, in the year 1862, that slavery was abolished in the District of Columbia, except for the D.C. jail, of course. Now, we thank all of you who have subscribed to this channel. You have certainly contributed to our growth. Now, to those of you who have not yet subscribed, we urge you to tap that subscribe button down below and add your much needed support to this project of bringing you these daily lessons. Please like and leave a comment down in the comment section. But most importantly, please share, especially with the young amongst us. So, until tomorrow, inshallah, this is Baba Shaka with Today in African History. Masalam.